What's up, guys? In this video, I'm going to share the story of one of my lowest points when it comes to game and why it's important not to give up hope. Alright, so I'll be honest, I was a bit reluctant to make this video. It was on my to-do list for a while and I just kept putting it off. But there's finally two reasons why I decided to make it. First of all, and most importantly, if I can help someone with this by hearing my story, it can save someone's life, then I think it would have been worth it. And secondly, just because this was so far away, this is now over 10 years ago, I'm so far removed from that point in my life, I can almost look back and laugh at it. But frankly, I still find the story quite embarrassing. So what am I talking about? So I hit probably the lowest point in my life when it comes to game around my senior year of college. So growing up, I didn't want to be a dating coach, I didn't want to be an entrepreneur, I didn't want to be a businessman, I wanted to be a professional snowboarder. That was my dream. I used to watch snowboarding movies, I used to go snowboarding all the time, and basically my goal was to learn freestyle, I was learning a lot of tricks, blah, blah, blah. When I was a junior in college, I injured my shoulder pretty badly, and I had to take a semester off school. I was staying at home, and I was like super depressed. All I did was literally watch TV all day. I literally did nothing else besides that. And then finally, I was like, okay, whatever, even though my shoulder hurts, I'll just finish up my final semester of college, get my degree, and then I can do whatever, something else, right? But I was still pretty depressed that I realized I wasn't going to be a professional snowboarder because my shoulder just kept fucking getting hurt every time I would snowboard and take a fall on it. So anyway, so I go back to school and, I can't go snowboarding anymore, so all I do is try to pick up chicks. At this point, I didn't know about the POA community at all, but I was still trying to get laid. And I think I'd been with like 5 or 6 girls up to this point in my life. I'm 22. I've only been with like 5 or 6 girls. And so I spent that whole semester partying, going out. I went to Boston University. I lived in the party spot. So there's a lot of parties always going on. You could party any day, basically Wednesday through Sunday. Anyway, one weekend, one of my really good buddies was visiting me. He went to another school and we went out. And I remember that whole night where we went out, I just kept getting rejection after rejection. And again, I didn't know game at all at this point. So it was largely me just fucking up. Like for example, I didn't understand the concept of a shit test. So if I was talking to a girl and I was trying to bring her back to my place, she's like, I don't know, maybe I don't want to sleep with you tonight. Instead of taking like a shit test and being like, well, maybe I don't want to sleep with you tonight, I'll be like, oh, fuck, okay, and then just move on to the next one. Or like, for example, if a girl had a concern like, oh, oh, you're not a serial killer, are you? Instead of just like being like, no, you're good, I gave up serial killing for Lent, I give her like a PowerPoint presentation. Oh, let me explain to you why I'm not a serial killer. And the girl will be like, okay, this guy sounds creepy as fuck. So just simply I had no understanding of women, no understanding of game, and my self-esteem was really low. I need to get drunk in order to talk to girls because I had pretty bad social anxiety. So it's a combination of things that made me pretty bad with women. Anyway, that whole night we go out, we get rejected. Well, I get rejected. I don't think my buddy did. Get rejected over and over again. I'm already at a bad place. And then we're going home, and then we see 2 girls. And I approach them like, hey, we're going to go smoke hookah at my place. You want to come? And they actually agreed. So these chicks were like super DTF. We go back to my place, and suddenly my anxiety starts kicking in. I'm like, oh shit, I got these girls back at my place. What do I do now? Now, of course, nowadays, in hindsight, I know the right call would have been to like bring her to my room. Like, oh, hey, let me show you something. Bring her to my room and start escalating, right? But I didn't know that at the time. So I just kept fucking fiddling around with like the hookah and just making awkward small talk. And I think eventually the girl got bored. Anyway, then my roommate at the time comes downstairs. I think he literally just came down and grabbed something from the fridge. He sees us smoking hookah. He's like, yo man, can I get a hit? And he starts taking a hit of the hookah. And because the girl I was talking to got super bored, she starts flirting with my roommate. And then 2 minutes later, she's literally like, hey, so do you want to show me your room? And I think as socially awkward as he was, he picked up on the fact that she was DTF and he took her up to his room and they start banging. At this point, I just get super depressed. I'm like, holy fucking shit. Like, how much of a loser am I that a girl who I pull back to my place still winds up sleeping with another guy? Like, this is like the ultimate failure. And so because of my shoulder injury, I had a prescription for painkillers. So I was like, fuck it. And I just took like, I think it was like 10 or 11 painkillers, which is a horrible idea, something you should never do. And I don't think I was trying to commit suicide. I think I was just like, fuck it. If I die, I die, but I just want to get so high, I black out and forget this moment ever happened, which is obviously a really, really fucking dumb idea. And fortunately, as you can see, I did not die. So I think I blacked out for like 12 hours, woke up the next day, and more or less was okay, right? But that point was kind of scary because I was looking back at it, I could have easily overdosed, right? And what's weird is that if you ever come close to death, I've come close to death several other times in my life. This was the only time I came close where it was like my fault. All the other times it was like someone pointed a gun at me or something like that. But every time you come close to death, even if you're very apathetic, you're like kind of depressed, it snaps you out of it, right? Because your will to live just kicks in. We're all wired to have this primal will to live. And so that kicked in. And it scared the shit out of me. Like, maybe like 2 more painkillers and I would have been dead, right? I could have easily overdosed, or like, maybe my liver could have processed it differently. So it was just like a scary realization. And it's a really good thing that I didn't die, because I remember about a month after that, I formally learned about the game. It was that same guy that I went out with. I guess he was thinking of me, so he sent me a link. He's like, yo, dude, I just read this book. You got to check it out. And it was Neil Strauss, The Game. And that's how I first discovered the PUA community. 2 or 3 weeks after that, I got my first ever girlfriend. So I think she was like the 7th girl I ever slept with. We wound up dating for a year and a half. Great girl. We still talk to from time to time, still have a friendship. So I wouldn't say like, I instantly turned my life around or something like that. It was still a very long, very slow learning process. But at the very least, it was like the low point. From there, you could only go up. From there, things just started getting better for me. And I think the point of the story is to show that even if you're at a point where everything seems so horrible, you literally just don't want to go on because you're like, this is so fucking bad, things can turn around. The one thing that you can't turn around is if you're dead, right? Because at that point, things are out of your hands. But as long as you're still alive and you're breathing, like, there's still fucking hope. And I think that, at that point, like, it's weird, because when you're at that low point, you're convinced that there's no way things can get better, right? So if you're at this point right now, you might be listening to this video and you're thinking, yeah, Alex, but for me, things can get better, because that's exactly where I was at that point in my life. I just was convinced there's no way things can get better, but trust me, they can. And if I can turn my life around, then so can you. Anyway, hopefully you guys found this video motivational. All right, hopefully you guys found the story valuable. Show some love by smashing the like button, hitting subscribe, clicking the bell for notification. Thank you guys for watching, and until next time.